Hello guys, well as you can probably tell, I'm getting after a few of the smaller jobs while I wait for a few parts to arrive. Specifically I'm waiting for the seal that goes in the middle of the clutch sprocket to come so that I can reassemble the primary. But next jobs I'm going to be taking a look at the horn, just testing that. I've got a few parts as well that have come, and here for example it was missing these screws and a couple of others as well that I got from Taff the Horn in Wales, so thank you Taff for those parts. And then next we're going to be moving on to the number plate or the license plate holder, and specifically the license plate. And I've come across this. Please don't ask me how much I paid for this little thing, but it's a genuine 1951 Oregon license plate, and they're pretty rare apparently according to the price anyway. And so what's special about the 51 is got this reinforced back on the back here, and pretty rare. The great thing about living here in the States, well certainly in Oregon, is what you can do is you can register an original license plate like this as what they call a special interest plate on my bike. So you pay an extra fee and you can buy a special interest plate at the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles here in Oregon, but it's a brand new plate and I think it has SP on it down here, and it's yellow and blue, and you know, it's a modern plate. But the great thing about here in Oregon is you can buy an old plate like I've done on my Commando and register this as a special plate and then put this on the bike as though it were an original plate that came with the bike. My bike's from California, but it just adds a little bit of authenticity. So here's the license plate that came with my bike. It's a California bike, or originally was anyway, and you can see this was last tagged here. These are called tags, these little sticky labels that you put on a license plate. This was last tagged in 93, so, and I believe that was approximately when it was last run, for your information. So not only that, but you can see that that's how this would have been affixed to this license plate holder. And so the old one, the 51 from Oregon, is a different shape, so obviously I'm going to need to drill into this license plate holder to make sure that I can fit it into these slots here. I hope I'm doing this right, but I'll check with my friend Jeff. He's an electrical engineer. So I've got a 6-volt battery. This is the battery that I use on my Triumph, and I normally have it on a trickle charge. So just testing the battery. 6.53 volts it's producing. So I'll stick a couple of crocodile clips. I converted this battery so that it fits on one of those Deltran type connections on my bike, and attaching to the terminals here on the horn, and I don't think it matters which goes where. And nothing.
Ew. Gosh, that's a mess. Oh my gosh. Filthy.
Well, unfortunately the horn's a bit of a mess. Here it is disassembled on the bench, and immediately we see a few problems. This outside plate here is pretty rough. This here is very rough. Everything else is just hardware, and you can see I've got some new bolts and nuts there from Taff the Horn. Everything else is just sort of cosmetic at the moment, but yeah, when I spend some time, see if I can get this tidied up. I'm not even sure about those points in there. Need to take a look at those.
Good.
Well, it's been a couple of nights since I worked on the horn, and I've got good news and bad news. Let's start with the bad news, which isn't that bad. The battery that I used to first test the horn is dead. It was giving a reading when testing it, but my friend Jeff came over and he did a test on the horn itself with this battery with a meter. And we found that this was actually draining the battery, so it's had it. And so I've just pulled the battery off the Comet and it's working, so that's the good news. The horn is working, albeit it needs an adjustment, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going through and testing different diaphragms and the armature. I had a bit of a problem getting the little pin out of the armature, but finally managed to work that out. And so I'm just going to be experimenting with these different components on the original horn to see if we can get a little note out of it. And I may be mistaken, but I think this diaphragm plate here was installed the wrong way around. That's how it was when I got it off the horn. This was the side that was painted red. And so I've scraped all the paint off, thinking that this is the side that I would repaint, but actually, comparing that profile with this profile and other horns, I think it bellows out here, because when the magnet kicks in, the electromagnet, that compresses, that causes the vibration that gives the horn its noise. And you know, maybe it still works, but it feels like that should be the right way. Oh! Success. That's how close it is. And this is a different diaphragm fitted from another horn, just to see if it makes a different sound or not. That's possibly better. That's better. And I've got one last diaphragm that I'm going to try off another horn. See what this one sounds like. Not as good as number 2, I think. Number 2. Here's the horn in the vise without the tone disc fitted that I resprayed, and just to give you a sense of what it sounds like with or without the tone disc. And here it is with the tone disc fitted. So quite a bit of a difference. So that's excellent, that's another job done. That's the horn finished and ready to mount back on the bike. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.